took about 3.5 months. But more importantly, it wasn't the weight. More importantly, it was some medical challenges I was facing. I have an autoimmune disease called Crohn's disease that had flared up every 1 or 2 months for about a week. So it wasn't the worst case of that, but it was enough to cause some intense pain every couple months. And more recently, I was having problems with my breathing. When I would be rushing to an airport or something like that, anything that would exert, I would lose my breath. And it was taking longer to get that back. At first, it would take just a few minutes. You rush to the airport to get on a plane, and then you're out of breath a little bit. You kind of expect that. But in early last year, that happened. I was at the airport rushing to the other side. It took me an hour and a half to feel comfortable. I thought I was going to have to go to the emergency room. And so I went in for a stress test in Medical City, and they said I had a high risk of heart disease. So Claudia had joined this program, so a lot of people know Claudia as well, has joined this program with Belden, who we're going to introduce here in a minute. And she had been losing a lot of weight. And when she found out that Belden had other clients that had Crohn's disease, she recommended that I talk to them. And I'm glad I did, because it really did change my life. So not only did I get my Crohn's disease 100% under control, but I eliminated the problems I was having with breathing, with my heart disease, my high blood pressure. My pulse rate, my average pulse rate before was over 100. I had a hard time getting it under 100. Now it's 65.
Wow.
I have unlimited energy. Before I was drinking 2 or 3 energy drinks a day just to keep going, working 20 hours a day, sleeping 2 to 3 hours a night. And now I sleep 7 hours a night. First time in my adult life that I sleep a regular sleep pattern. And one of the things I found is that you need more energy to sleep than you do to stay awake. It's one of the things I've learned through this journey. And my energy just turned on one day. I have unlimited energy. My 4-year-old knocks out before I do. We were at the beach in Subic a few months ago, and I was playing with him. Normally I would just sit on the beach and watch them play with the yayas, but now I was playing with him, and he got tired before I did.
Wow.
So this is not just about losing weight. This is really about improving health, improving your life for the long term. And so this is the reason why we've asked Belden, Claudia and I begged Belden to come here last year, and he did come here. And we talked about how can we bring this program and get it spread out more into the Philippines, because we're seeing too many things happening in our improved society. When I moved here 13 years ago, it was a different world. There was no Starbucks in Angelo City back then. Now, how many Starbucks do we have? And that's a sign of success. It's a sign that people are earning more income. They have disposable income that they can spend on something like Starbucks. But with that success, there also seems to be a degeneration of our health. And I never really understood this before. I was the last person that would talk to you about eating healthy food. I would eat whatever I could and whatever I wanted, whatever I saw. I wasn't really worried about what I ate before. But I've realized, because of this transformation I've gone through, that there's a better way to live. And it's a lot more exciting. It feels a lot better. And so with our modern society of all the fast food and the Starbucks and all these different things we're eating, we're not serving our body well with what it really needs. And so we asked Belden to come here, help us develop a program that we can have in the Philippines, so that what he's doing in the U.S. and actually all over the world, he's doing in multiple countries already, but really to get a focus here in the Philippines. So what you're seeing here today is actually the first time ever that there's been a nutritional fitness workshop. Wow. So he's come here from California to do this. And just to give a little more background on Belden, so Belden will tell you his story, so I'm not going to get a lot into it, but he had 3 major cardiac events in his younger days. And that made him start to think differently about his health. And he developed a system to improve his own health, and he's been teaching this for 15 years to other people, doing one-on-one coaching. And over that 15 years, he's helped over 1,400 people become healthy. Wow. And everybody who joins this program and sticks it out is successful. And out of everybody who joined the program and didn't stick it out or stuck it out, 92% of those people have long-term success. This is not a fad diet. This is not something that you lose weight and then you gain it back the next time. It's really something that you can learn and use for the rest of your life to have an incredible experience in your life. So Belden is the expert when it comes to metabolism, when it comes to cellular nutrition, the things like that really make this thing work, because he studied what makes the body work, what makes the body repair itself, what makes the immune system work. all these different things. And again, I won't preempt what he's going to be talking about, and I'll tell you a lot more because he's a lot better at it than I am anyway. So without further ado, let's invite up here Belden Combe, the master of metabolism.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. I'm born and raised in Seattle, Washington, and if you're not familiar with the U.S., Seattle, Washington is up north. We get maybe 23 degrees C, and I'm trying to do mental conversions here, about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That's our hottest summer day, right? So in preparation for coming here, I moved to the Southern California desert. That was 9 years ago, and I want to say today I'm 50% acclimated to your weather, so yay, this is good. But I love it here. It's beautiful, most beautiful mornings on earth. Every one of you guys has a piece of paper, and I don't want this to be as much about me as I want it to be about you. So I'd like you to take that piece of paper before we get started, and I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to answer what's on the front, which is just 3 simple questions. But before you write anything down, let me give you an idea of what we're looking for here, okay? The top 3 most important goals in your life. These don't have to be health goals. What are the top 3 most important things that you want to get done before you leave this earth? Okay? If you found a magic lamp and the genie inside would grant you one wish to improve your health, this is a health question. What would you wish for in terms of your personal health? And if your wish were granted, how would that affect your life? How would your life be different? And before we really get started, I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to take a look at these questions and think about them. Think about them deeply. And then when we come back, we're going to share a little bit. Okay? So get ready to get involved, and I'll be back in 10 minutes, okay?
All right.
Top 3 things that you would like to accomplish before you leave this earth. Who'd like to share that? And if nobody volunteers, I will point to people. Yes, sir.
My top 3, I'll put to live a long life and die an old man. Be the father and husband my family deserve. And number 3 is have the finances to support my family and help others.
I like you. I like you, because what better goal is there than to stand up for your family, be there for your family in the way that you know your family wants and deserves. And that's awesome. Who else would like to share? Yes?
My number 1 goal is right now, because I'm a retired senior citizen, I want to stay healthy to be able to do things that are really necessary for daily survival, especially for my family members and grandchildren. The second one is, I guess because I want to be healthy, to live a happy life and for my family. And then the third one, be an active member of our community, if I could, of my age, of course I could. And also an active member of our family. And the whole clan.
And please tell me you're doing that last one for you.
Huh?
Please tell me you're doing that last one for you. Because living long for your family is great. Living long for you is even better. Even better.
Myself and my family.
This is Chris's mom.
Excellent. Oh, hello. Nice, nice, welcome. Who else would like to share? Let's get one more. Top 3 goals, yes.
The first one is time and financial freedom. I plan to retire 7 years from now. I just turned 43. So that's a long way to go. So I want to experience traveling the world when I still can, not when I'm 65. Number 2, be able to help make this world a better place by sharing hope, love, and faith. And number 3, help cure sick kids, especially those cancer-stricken. Because, you know, as a mom, that's the worst thing that you could possibly be in is when you see your kids at a very young age sick. So what more if they're stricken with cancer?
Beautiful, beautiful. Anyone else? So we have financial freedom, travel, being able to leave a legacy in the world that makes the world a better place. We have wanting to be the family head that the family deserves and being able to be that person. And longevity, being able to be here for not only yourself and your family, but to leave a mark in the community, and be able to help in the community. These are amazing goals, and everybody has these goals. Everybody. How many of you think that every one of these goals, financial freedom, world travel, being the best family head you can be, leaving a mark in your family and your community, how many believe that all of these directly depend upon having the best health that you can have?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk more about that. Even financial freedom depends upon your health. So if you were to find a magic lamp, we went into the Cave of Wonders and we found Aladdin's lamp and we picked it up and we rubbed it, and out popped Robin Williams, which people my age understand. You guys might be all Will Smithy on me, but out comes the genie and he says, you can have any health goal you want, just one. I'm a selfish genie. You don't get 3, 1. What would be the #1 health goal that you would ask for? Money's no object, time is no object. He's a genie. He's going to give it to you. What would be your #1 health goal? Who would like to share that? We're getting all personal. These get harder.
Okay.
Yeah.
To begin with, I have so many ailments.
Mm-hmm.
I have hypertension, I have sciatica, I have borderline sugar level, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, I'd like to be healthy. And I want to lose weight.
Mm-hmm. That's 2. I'm only going to give you
How do you
1.
lose weight? If you're fat, you're not healthy.
So you're going to go. You're going to go vanity.
So I want to, yeah.
Okay. Vanity. #1 health goal is vanity.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing you. That's excellent. So you'd like to go to the doctor and have a checkup, come back clean, and everything be normal. Yeah. Who else? #1 health goal. Yes.
I do have PCOS or polycystic
PCOS,
ovarian and hormonal imbalance. So I've been struggling since I was young with it. So right now, I and my husband are trying to conceive, but it's a little difficult because of my health problems. So it's one thing that I would maybe ask the genie to, replenish and work on it.
Yeah, make PCS go away.
Yeah.
That's a good wish right there. Good wish. Who else? I know what I once would have wished for. Who else before I share mine? Yes?
I guess physically stronger. So,
Now you're talking buff up and walk around like Arnold, or you...
no, just to have more energy to be able to do much more.
Energy.
Yeah.
Energy and strength? Which one? I'll give you either
Energy.
one. Energy?
Yeah.
Done. I'm a genie. I can do that. Oh, wait. Robin Williams is a genie. He can do that. But we're going to show you how you can do that. If your wish were granted, let's start with you if you don't mind. If your wish were granted, how would your life be different? What would your life look like if you had all the energy in the world?
I guess I would not delay things and I would end up doing a lot more than I do right now.
You want to actually get the task list done.
Yeah.
Not just 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, because energy would also be emotional strength, not just physically, so you're emotionally stronger, you end up doing much more than, instead of just delaying things and getting into the lazy mode, I would probably end up doing much more than what I do right now.
Fabulous. Anybody else in the people that have spoken up, does anybody else see yourself in the stories they're telling? Do you see yourself and what other people want and similarities in your goals? And goals can cover a wide span. Your goals can be financial, they can be for business growth, they can be for impacting the world with something that you believe and something that you believe would help, something that can raise the condition of humankind. That's a great goal. Making impact on community, because how can you make world impact if we're not starting in our own communities and being able to be a part of that? All of these goals are directly related to something that we call self-care. And self-care is something you're hearing a lot about in the world today. And there's a lot of I don't want to say controversy, but confused thoughts, confused ideas on what self-care means. And there's a whole bunch of people out there saying self-care is to just accept yourself the way you are. Self-care is to love me, not to try to change me, but to love me. And then other people are saying self-care is getting your energy aligned with the universe and with the people around you and the people in your community, and energy alignment is self-care. And there's a lot of different ideas on what this means. But one thing everybody agrees on, and that's that self-care is foundational to anything else that you want to do in life. Because if you're not caring for yourself first, how can you possibly even know how to care for anything else? So I'm going to first invite you to flip the page, and you're going to notice on page 2 some high-level comments or thoughts. And as we go through, I'd like you to just make a few quick notes so that when you take this home with you, you'll have something to come back and review later and remember what we talked about here, okay? And the very first line that you'll see there is self-care is what?
Paramount.
Paramount is a good word. What did you say? Foundational, right? And foundational is an important word because it means it's the first thing you build. You cannot successfully build anything else in your life to be what you want it to be at the highest, best level until you first pour the foundation, right? So let's talk about this for a minute. I want you guys to actually imagine that you're looking at a piece of property up on a hill, and it's beautiful. It's an amazing piece of property, and you have an opportunity to acquire this property. It's yours. All you have to do is say, I want it, and it's yours. And so you're looking at this piece of property, and the first thing that you imagine is, what am I going to do with it, right? It's up on the hill. It's a beautiful location. There's this amazing valley down below that's just, oh, so beautiful. So maybe you want to put a house there, right? And you're thinking to yourself, what kind of house would I want? And you mentally start to build this house. And in your mind, you have a beautiful bathroom with bay windows, and you can like soak in the tub, put the bath bomb in there, get the candles burning, and you're looking at the valley down below. Can you feel how peaceful that would be? Just enjoy a bath there. Or maybe you're not a bath person. Maybe there's a big deck on the back of this house. And you can just imagine yourself sitting there with a cup of coffee or maybe a whiskey at night, fine Cuban cigar, whatever it is that you like. And you're out on this deck and you just feel so peaceful. In fact, when you walk through your house, you just feel calm. It's your house. You designed it. It's you. It's your expression. And you know that you need a couple of things if you're going to build this house. The first thing that you're going to need is an amazing architect, because this house is on a hill. Not just anybody knows how to design a house on a hill, right? But you're going to get this architect that understands the terrain and understands you and understands building materials and knows how to do this. And he's going to build you an amazing set of blueprints. They don't mean a lot to you because they're all two-dimensional, right? We tend to think three-dimensionally. So you need somebody else to help make this come to life. And what you need is a builder. Not any cookie-cutter home stamped out building. You need a builder that can build on this terrain. And that's pretty powerful. I mean, that guy knows the dirt. He knows the hill. He knows the blueprints. He knows the engineering. And he knows you. And he can walk you through this house three-dimensionally and say, hey, when you go around this corner right here, it's going to feel kind of weird. You might want to change that before we build it. And right then, you know that's your guy. You're like, yeah, you're right. Let's change that right now before we even build it. And then you start to build your house. And you have one job. Just one job. And that job is to provide the building materials that the builder needs to build that house to the set of blueprints up on the hill. It's your only job. And nobody wants to mess up the one job, right? You got one job, right? What is that job? Getting the building materials to the builder. So you go out and you start looking for building materials and you find some concrete. And you find some 2x4s laying around and you scrounge up a little bit of siding and you bring that to your builder and you put it on the ground, concrete 2x4 siding. And you say, build my house. And he looks at you and he's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Where's my wires? Where's my windows? Where's my flooring? Where's my cabinets? Where's my roofing? Everything in here is going to get wet. You can't even use the restroom because you didn't give me any plumbing and porcelain, and there's not even a floor. Now, the question is, can the builder, with what you gave him, build this beautiful house on the hill? Mm-mm. But can he build something? You think so? Do you think he can build something? Mm-hmm.
Think so?
And that something might keep you dry, right? But is it going to give you the peace and the happiness and the joy and the comfort that you wanted when you envisioned this house?
No.
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
We're doing the exact same thing in our body. Your body is made of 30 trillion cells. And if you don't know how to comprehend 30 trillion, that's the US national debt times 30. It's a really, really, really big number, 30 trillion cells. And every one of those cells is built like that house on the hill. Every one of those cells is uniquely designed to be exactly what it needs to be to serve you. Your eyes have cells that take in information and send it to the brain, which interprets it along with your sound and your touch and everything else. And your heart's beating blood through your body, and blood is carrying oxygen to your body. And every one of these cells has an amazing function to perform and is built to carry out that function. You don't need an architect, you already have it. And the DNA of your body is the exact blueprint for the highest, best version of you. It's there. It's perfect. You don't need to go hire a builder. Inside your body is your metabolism, whose job is to take things apart and rebuild it back into you, into every cell of your body. You have the perfect builder for this job. And you have one job. And the question is, do we really understand that job? And do we know how to fulfill that job? Because that job is to get the builders the building materials that he needs to build the most perfect you imaginable. And so we go out and we start looking around and we say, I need some fats, I need some carbohydrates, I need some proteins, cool, got it. Boom, you eat it, you put it in the body, you give it to your builder, and your body looks at you and goes, really? This is what you're giving me to work with, right? Just these 3 things out of the hundreds of things that I need to build you? Where do you think all of this raw material comes from? Out of thin air? No. I need you to give it to me. And you're just giving me these 3 things, right? Now the question is, can your metabolism build the highest, best version of you with what you're giving it to work with? If you're suffering sickness, if you're losing energy, if you have chronic pain and disease, if you've got illnesses coming on going every time a flu comes by, if you're feeling lethargic, if you're putting on weight, the answer is no. The answer is no. Your builder doesn't have what he needs to build the highest, best version of you. That's why you're not experiencing the highest, best version of you. But can your metabolism build something? Yeah, we're all sitting here. Obviously, our metabolism can build something with what we're giving it. But if we give that metabolism, that builder, the right building materials to do their job and to build to the blueprints that's written into your DNA, well, now we're not worried about losing energy. We're not worried about chronic pain and disease. We're not worried about the things that we're fighting today. And guys, this isn't science fiction. If you go back in time, a very short period, 30, 40, or 50 years, many of the things that we take for granted today were rare. Right now in the Philippines, one of your fastest growing diseases is diabetes. And if you go back 30 years, it was rare. It happened, don't get me wrong, but it was rare. In the US, if you go back 50 or 60 years, heart disease was almost unheard of. People had it, but everyone was shocked. Oh my gosh, did you hear that so-and-so had a heart attack? Today it's like, so-and-so had a heart attack. Okay. Right? It's common. It's so common. You would go to a beach and you wouldn't see people who were overweight. This is all new. This is all very, very new. And not surprisingly, the decay of our health has come with the decay of our food system and what we're choosing to put into our body. So how does this all come back to self-care? Well, it comes back to self-care because our job of caring for ourselves is to give our body the one job, right? It is to give our body the things that our body needs to build the highest, best version of you. And when you do that, you find some things happen. Self-care allows you to live longer. Self-care allows you to play faster. Self-care allows you to love more deeply. Self-care allows you to work smarter. When you're exercising the self-care that allows your body to build the highest, best you, all of these top-level goals you have for your life, these things that you want to do before you die and leave this world, become easier. They come into your grasp because you have the energy to do what you need to get that done. You have the length of life to be able to carry projects out to their completion. You have the ability to think through problems and to come up with the real big ideas. And Mike will tell you how important this thinking is. When you get a clear set of brain cells and ideas start coming to you, you're able to create solutions that you weren't able to think about when your brain was foggy and when your mind felt heavy. Does that make sense? I had a car when I was in high school, first car I ever bought. It was a 1964 Mustang, and I kept it. I'd be a lot richer today. It's worth about $100,000 US today. When I had it, it was worth about $5, so I sold it. But when I bought that car, I loved it. I loved that car. And I was excited. It was fast. It was sleek. It was sexy. But I'm going to tell you right now, it was not the highest, best version of itself. Back then, cars didn't have computers. You had to tinker with them. And the engine ran a little bit rough. There were some rust spots on the body. Hadn't been cleaned very well, so the crevices were all full of stuff. And it wasn't a perfect car. It wasn't. But I loved it. I really, really loved it. Now, what did I do with my car because I loved it? Well, I actually took a mechanic course in school, in high school. Not because I like mechanics. I really don't. You get dirty and grimy and heat. But I did it because I loved my car, and I wanted to bring that engine up and tune that engine and fine-tune it and make it run like, I don't know if you've heard these old cars, but when you fire them up, they have that, and that's cool, right? That's really, really cool. I wanted that, and it wasn't doing that. So I learned how to fix my engine to make it do that. I learned how to fix rust spots, and then I repainted my car. I cleaned it in every detail. Now, when it comes to this idea of self-care and self-love, ask yourself, was I trying to make my car something it wasn't? Was I trying to make my car a Corvette? Or was I trying to make it a Chevy? No, I wasn't. That wouldn't be self-love. Trying to make it something that it wasn't would have told the whole world I didn't want a Mustang. I didn't like that car. I wanted my Mustang. I loved it for exactly what it was. But because I loved it, I made it the highest, best version of itself that I could. So when I was done, I had a clean car. It had a sleek, shiny paint job. It ran fast. It ran really fast. Chicks digged it. It was great. I loved that car. Everything about it. So think about yourself and what does self-love mean to you? I love myself. What does that mean? Does that mean I need everybody to accept me exactly as I am? Like I could have done with my car? Does that mean, I love myself so much I want to change into something else? Like I could have tried and failed to change my car into a Corvette? What does self-love really mean? Shouldn't it mean that you love who you are so much that you'll do what it takes to become the highest, best version of yourself that you can be? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that a definition of self-love that resonates with you? Does it make sense? Is that the way that you would like to love who you are?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. The important part of self-care when it comes to the real needs of your body is to provide your body an environment where your body can do what it does best. Your body is optimally designed, optimally, I can say that word, optimally designed to keep you healthy, to make sure that you're not sick, to make sure that you feel energetic and you're getting through your day and you're getting things done. We'll talk later today about what energy in your body really is, but it lives in your cells. It's there. It wants to do the job. All we have to do is stop getting in its way, right? So we want to create an environment in our body where we can thrive. We want to create an environment in our body where we can survive and then thrive. Now these two words are important, and write them down on your sheet, because your body will always default to survive. You don't thrive until you are surviving. If we've created an environment in our body by what we've given it to work with, where our body is not filled with energy, we can't thrive. Our body is trying to survive. It's trying to get us through the day. If we create an environment in our body where we're ill and our immune system isn't functioning properly and we have these things going on in a chronic way, our body's trying to survive. Our body's trying to deal with diabetes. Our body's trying to deal with this thyroid thing. Our body is trying to heal itself. And it can't thrive until it does that. Our body's not even thinking about what's going on with body weight because it doesn't matter. That's thriving. And until your body can survive, it cannot thrive. Does that make sense? So we need to create an environment in our body where the survival is a given. To where our body is able to say, hey, you know what? The engine's humming. Yeah, sounds good, doesn't it? The engine's covered. The body is looking good. The rust spots are gone. We've cleaned up the interior. We've put new tires on the car. And your body is like, cool, survival, we got that. Done. Now we can thrive. Now we can start thinking of new ideas. Now we can start just shedding body fat because we don't need it. Now we can start thriving. Now we can start building that business that we want to build, and we can start having the impact on the world that we want to have because we're now thriving instead of just surviving. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So you have, as we mentioned before, one job in this process, and only one job. That one job is to provide the nutrient building blocks that your body needs to take care of survival, to build a body chemistry internally that is healthy, that is whole, that is complete, that gives your body everything that it needs in order to be able to build the highest, best version of you. Give your body what it needs to survive so that it can begin to thrive. Now, I talk to people every day that tell me, boom, got this. Been doing keto for years. Yeah, got it. Oh, wait, I've got it. I'm a vegan. And then I scratch my head because, you know, there is more science behind keto than there is any diet that's ever come to this planet. There's been research on keto since 1940s. And you know what's second in terms of scientific research? Veganism. And there's all this science on both sides. I'm telling you, there's no two things more opposite than keto and veganism. This one is don't eat any vegetables, man. If it's not coming on 4 legs, you shouldn't be eating that stuff. No carbs, all meat. Vegans are over here saying, what are you talking about? You don't eat meat. Look, there's all this science backing this up. And people buy into this, and I'm just scratching my head, going, how can science absolutely prove two totally opposite things? So how do we make sense of it all? How do we come to the conclusion or the solution of what we need to put in our bodies? How do we know what we need to do? How do we sift through the good, the bad, and the ugly so that we can put into our bodies what our bodies need, and we can do our one job. One job. But how do we know how to do it? So we have a breakout session we're going to do right now, and we're going to give 3 demonstrations that will help you guys understand what is in our food supply, what it's doing to our body, and how we can better make decisions to improve our body and to give our body the building materials that it needs. Does that sound fun? Would you guys like to learn a few things?
Yeah.
We could all just sit right here and I can talk, but this is funny. Cool? So what we're going to do is we're going to divide up in 3 groups. How many do we have here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 4, 6, right? So we have 30 people sitting down. Okay? So let's break out into groups. Let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So from you to the front is 1 group. All right, everybody got it? The 2 in the back, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to you will be group number 2. And group number 3 will be from you to you. Sorry, I don't know everybody's names. I met a bunch of people and it's too many people to meet in one shot. But you guys will be the 3rd group. And when you go outside, we're going to put 1 table right here. So let's take you right here. There's going to be 1 table in the lobby, so maybe the 2nd group can go out into the lobby, and a 3rd table over here. Give us just about a couple of minutes to set up, and then let's break out and hit those tables. And we're going to rotate through so you guys can all see each one of these, okay? Awesome. Thank you for listening so far. I'll see you, well, I'll see you right here. They'll see you out there. Cool. Give me a minute to grab my stuff. I'll be right. Overproduces. And now all of a sudden we have a sugar spike. And then we go like this with insulin production, glucose production until it levels out. And what happens when it levels out? We'll take another drink of that diet soda. And if we do that enough times, we start to have insulin resistance, and insulin begins to break down how it works in our body. Because we just keep confusing our body. It's over and over and over again. That's the number 1 contributor. The number 2 contributor is this stuff that we call flour these days. Once upon a time, not long ago, we used to mill flour. And when we milled flour, we had ground wheat. And it was very healthful. People lived on bread. Every family, bread was a staple in the whole rest of the world. I understand it's rice here, but the rest of the world is bread. Now you're getting the rest of the world here. You know that. And now you're getting the rest of the world here. And you're starting to get what we call flour that comes with it. It's no longer milled wheat. We now take the bran off because we can sell it more expensively all by itself. And we take the germ where all the vitamins are, we take that out and we sell it by itself because that's really valuable, right? And then what's left, which is the endosperm, can't be milled because it's too gummy. So we bleach it 15 times with chemicals so that we can make it hard and cakey. And now we've completely killed any nutrient value that this stuff ever had. And so we start putting chemicals into it and say we're fortifying it with all of this vitamins and minerals, but the chemicals we're putting in aren't what your body needs. They're chemical synthesis, just stuffed into this stuff so that we can put it on the label, okay? This stuff has exactly the opposite effect of diet soda, because when you put it in your mouth, there is no sweet. And so your brain says, no need for insulin. But this stuff turns into sugar almost immediately. The chemical composition of what we're calling flour compared to sugar, very, very small difference, and it changes very, very quickly. And now all of a sudden, we have blood sugar spike. So what do we have to do? We have to create insulin. So we overproduce insulin, and we do the same exact thing, but instead of starting with the insulin, we start with the blood sugar. These 2 things are primarily responsible for diabetes today. Now, with that said, if you don't want to do this experiment, you're not required to, but if you do this experiment, you learn something really, really fascinating. So what I'd like you to do is take 2 packets. 2.
Very generous.
Yes, I am. I love you guys. Don't do anything with them yet. Just shake them down. You got the right idea. Hey, I said 2. Okay, you shared. That's all right. Does everybody have 2 packets? Okay. If you don't mind, I'm going to be doing this 3 times. I'm only going to take 1. That gives me 3. Okay? So what I want you to do while you're getting ready here is I want you to focus on the back of your throat, right here where my fingers are. You can touch it if it helps, you don't have to, but I want you to focus on the back of your throat. Imagine that you're something going down your throat. I'm going to stop right here and you're just going to feel the back. You feel your throat. What does your throat feel like inside? Can you describe it, or does it just feel normal? Yeah, it doesn't really feel like anything, does it? It's just what it is every day, okay? I want you to remember that thought, all right? And then what I want you to do is take your 2 packets of sugar and go ahead and eat them. But don't swallow them too fast. Let it dissolve. They're big granules of brown sugar. You can chew them up a little bit if you want. Let them dissolve, all right?
This is the first time I'm gonna do this.
It's the first time a nutritionist has ever told you to eat sugar. That's because I'm not a nutritionist. I'm a cellular biologist. We like sugar. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Put it more slowly, right? Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. I agree, it is.
I like it with palitaw.
It is good. Okay, it's getting dissolved now, right? Starting to go down. Now, I want you to stay focused on that back part of your throat. Does anybody feel a change? Anybody feel anything in the back of your throat? You're like, no, this guy's crazy. Give it time.
It's like it's coated.
Okay.
I need to swallow.
Yeah, you can swallow.
What's that?
There's something that irritates.
You feel an irritation?
Yeah.
Does anybody else feel an irritation starting? You feeling it? Yeah.
Everyone have that.
Who else feels an irritation starting in the back of your throat? 3, 4, 5. Pretty soon everybody's going to raise their hand because I don't want to be left out. 5 out of 10 so far. Okay. Now, the truth is, you're not all going to feel it, but some of you will. That irritation you're feeling is inflammation. Real time. So you put the sugar in the back of your throat. Sugar is an irritant, and it starts to inflame the back of that throat. That's the irritation you feel. Don't worry, it won't last long. I haven't sensed you to death or anything. It'll go away in a couple of minutes. But that is inflammation. It's actually irritating your throat. It's beginning to make the back of your throat raw. And as the back of your throat becomes raw, that irritation is inflammation. Now, when we're eating massive quantities of sugar, diabetes is a problem. Massive quantities of sugar are putting that inflammation through our whole body. That inflammation is one of the #1 causes of heart disease. When you get this into your bloodstream and we're inflaming the insides of our arteries and veins, we create damage. When the interior of our arteries and veins becomes damaged, then our body has to fix it. And to fix it, we send cholesterol to the site. Cholesterol's job is to fix damage. You cut your skin, boom, cholesterol comes there to fix that. How does cholesterol fix the skin when you cut it? Well, it puts a scab on it, and underneath the scab, it fixes your skin. What happens when your skin is fixed? Well, the scab falls off. The same thing is happening inside of your arteries when you are inflamed. The doctors call it plaque. I don't know why. It makes everybody think stuff falls off your teeth and gets into your blood veins, right? But what's really happening is cholesterol is going to that site, healing the wound, covering over the scab, and when the wound is healed, it lets go of the scab. Now you have a scab in your bloodstream. Doctors call it plaque. It's a scab. And when it goes flying through your bloodstream, if it clogs an artery in your neck, that becomes a stroke. If it clogs a heart valve, that becomes a heart attack. Now there are other reasons for heart attacks, and if you go back 50 or 60 years, heart attacks were mostly caused by neurological issues. Today, overwhelmingly, heart attacks are caused by plaque clogging the heart valve, causing the heart to no longer be able to pump blood. And all of that happened because of food choice. The food choice that causes inflammation. Now, this isn't the only thing that causes inflammation. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of additives in our food that cause inflammation in the body. Way worse than sugar causes. Way worse than sugar causes. You're going to learn about a couple of those when you go through the other tables. But inflammation is the #1 cause of heart disease. It is the #1 cause of arthritis. It's the #1 cause of other joint pain, other issues in the body. It's really a big deal. And you just experience what it is, right? So you can know what's happening in your body when you choose building blocks that put inflammation into your body. Does that make sense? Any questions on this? Anybody want to sue me for putting inflammation in your body? It's good to feel it though, and to know, oh wow, inflammation. All right, I know what that is now. Because you hear people talking about inflammation and what it is, and you need to reduce inflammation, have anti-inflammatory drugs. You don't need anti-inflammatory drugs. You just need to make different decisions on the building blocks that you're putting in your body so that you don't put inflammation in there first. Cool. Questions?
So any food with sugar causes inflammation?
Yes, but that doesn't mean sugar is evil. So what just happened in your throat is already healed. It's already gone, right? You don't feel it anymore. It's already gone. Your body is fabulous in how fast your body can heal things. So you take sugar in a small dose like this, and you occasionally have sweet, or you occasionally have something. I'll tell you, when I was a kid, we did all of this different. I'm 55. When I was a kid, it was a long freaking time ago. And we had dessert once a week on Sunday. And we all looked forward to it. It's like, oh man, Mom, what's happening for dessert? Can we have it on Wednesday? Do we really have to wait? But we looked forward to it. It was special. It was something cool. We had to wait for it. But it was once a week. And when you have sugar on an occasional basis like that, it doesn't cause you a lot of damage because your body heals so fast. But you have this stuff every day, 5 times a day, in your drinks, in your foods, in your desserts, in the packaged foods that you buy. And you have it over and over and over again. Your body doesn't have the chance to heal like that. And instead what happens is the damage goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And instead of being able to heal, pretty soon you have problems. Pretty soon you have big problems. So sugar's not evil. Lots of sugars. Lots of sugars. Does that answer your question? Anyone else? Yes?
I've been very sick with tonsillitis since I was young. So what do you think is probably causing that? Because I get sick almost every quarter, so that's 4 times a year. And I was advised before to have my tonsils removed.
You know what's really cool? I haven't been sick in 7 years.
Wow.
7 years. But I've been doing this for 15 years, so the obvious question is what happened the first 8? Why were you getting sick the first 8 years? So there's an interesting thing that happens once you start changing what you put in your body. That's your body doesn't heal immediately. Your body is actually building you, right? Your metabolism takes things apart, puts things back together. It's not a fat burner. It's not. If you go home and you look up metabolism, you get like 3 billion Google hits that say fat burning furnace. But if you go and look up 2 different words, you see a very different picture, and that's catabolism and anabolism. Metabolism is made of these 2 parts. Metabolism takes things apart, anabolism puts things together. You eat food, your metabolism takes it apart and builds it into your cells that are you. This stuff comes from what we eat, right? So here's the beautiful thing. Top layer of your skin replaces itself every 28 days. Taking out old cells, replacing them with new cells every 28 days. So when people began following nutritional fitness and began eating a new way, a way that gets those building blocks in your body, this is one of the first things that we see. The skin gets younger and it gets tighter and it starts to glow and it looks good. Why? Because we replaced it. And this is how your body heals, is by replacing the parts that aren't well, or the parts that are old, or the parts that are die or used up or whatever. We replace it. It takes your body about 7 years to replace about 85% of the cells in your body.
That long, 7 years.
For some
so
of
if you've been eating very unhealthy food, your body
you've got very unhealthy cells, and you're going to get sick, and you're going to hurt, and you're going to have energy issues. So there's a progression to what happens when you begin putting the right building blocks in. I already said skin, you start to see in 28 days, and it's cool. I know it when I get on a video with somebody, I'm like, oh my God, you're just like 82 times more beautiful than you were 28 days ago because your skin is glowing, right? The cells of your tongue replace each other, or replace every day, the surface of your tongue. Every day you've got brand new cells on your tongue. Your vital tissues inside once take about 2 years. When they do autopsies on people who used to be smokers, stop smoking. It takes about 2 years, and they have brand new lungs. There's no black in there anymore. It's all brand new. All you got to do is stop smoking, right? And give your body a chance to do what it does. So progressively, things begin to heal. Muscles take about 7 years, 6 to 7 years. So to get everything out of your muscles that you can. But you know what people feel first? And this is the thing that gives you hope so that you know what's coming. Energy. 10 to 14 days. In 10 to 14 days, you've done everything that you need to do in every cell of your body for energy to start working the way it's supposed to work. And then you're awake, sun up to sundown. You're not crashing in the afternoon. You bounce out of bed ready to go. And, oh, yeah, fast. So what you want to fix and where the issues are, it just depends on how long it takes to repair it. You're going to go to your doctor, and your doctor's going to say, don't wait all that time. I can give you a pill that'll make you feel better today. And it will. It'll make you feel better. It's not going to fix the problem. It's just going to make you not feel the problem anymore.
Sir, I have a question. Yeah. We already knew my gallbladder because I have a problem before. So will it affect my health?
Honestly, I'm going to tell you a story about my girlfriend. I'm glad she's not here because that way I don't have to pay the price for it later. You guys don't get on social media. So about 9 years ago, and the answer is it depends. Okay, it depends on what issue you have. So we got together about 9 years ago. And what I do, she didn't do. Everybody said, Belden, you got it made. I mean, your family, you're the nutritional fitness guy. I mean, you don't have all the home problems that we do. Oh, yeah, I do. You think my family is like, oh, no. So my partner for 9 years never wanted to follow what I do and what we do. Just no. So that's okay. You got to make your own decision. And she just got her gallbladder removed a week ago. She's like, dang, I wish I'd taken this serious a long time ago. But she had a 1-inch stone. By the time you have a 1-inch gallstone, there's really not an option. Yeah, you can't break it up any other way. So if you have small stones that are starting to cause issues, you might see things turn around. And you might see them turn around in time, so you don't have to have it removed. But if you've got a large stone already, yeah. There's some damage that when it's done, it's already done, guys. You've got to know this, and this is why you need to take your health serious before damage happens. I have dead spots on my heart. Your heart and your brain, I get emotional about this one, okay? Your heart and your brain don't replace their cells. Your heart can't replace its cells because it's constantly working. It never has a time when it stops so that those cells can be replaced. Your brain, same thing. You never replace those cells. So when you have a major heart incident and it causes a part of your heart to die, it's dead forever. Okay. You've got an issue that you probably can't turn around if you have a big stone already. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't take the rest of your body seriously. Otherwise, you end up having. I have a neighbor that brags about the fact that she's had 30 operations. Yeah, she's telling Ivy. Yeah, she's like telling Ivy when Ivy went in for her surgery. She's like, "Oh, I've had 30 of these. Don't worry about it, right?" She's talking 30 surgeries like that's normal, right? How many things do you have left in there, right? Like they're gone. But when things break, they break. I've got things that are broken. You've got something that in all likelihood may be broken, but let's stop the rest of it from following that suit and let's start to get control back. And another thing that will happen is when that gallbladder is gone, in all likelihood, the things that you've been eating that cause that problem are going to make you hurt. They're going to make you tremendously uncomfortable when your gallbladder isn't there. And you're going to need to change how you eat just so you feel good, right? So, very important thing.
What about the cells in your stomach? Does it heal as well as like the other parts of the body?
Your stomach is really cool because it's like covered with snot. Mucus. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to use nicer. It's covered with mucus. But yeah, that that replenishes as fast as it needs to. It's actually body liquid, so it replenishes as fast as it needs to. Now, if you've been putting stuff in your stomach that actually eats through the mucus and you get to the wall of your stomach, then you wind up with perforated stomach, you end up with stomach ulcers and other things. Those heal very, very quickly in a matter of weeks when you start putting the right things in your body to make that happen. But it does require a little bit of extra effort up front so that you can stop the things that irritate it. Your stomach, you guys know what your stomach is full of? Besides food. What kind of acid do you know?
Hydrochloric.
Hydrochloric acid. Yeah. How powerful is hydrochloric acid? Heck yeah. Listen, if you drank hydrochloric acid, it would melt your throat, right? And yet your stomach is full of this stuff. So as soon as the mucus, and that's why the mucus layer is there to protect your stomach wall. When you've gone through the mucus, you have the acids in your stomach upsetting that wall. So there's some things that we want to do to make sure that you're able to create a healing environment so that your stomach can heal. But once you create that, it happens pretty quickly. Anyone else? Yeah. People pay tens of thousands of dollars to ask me questions, and you're getting them for free. So it's like, what are the $1 million questions? And you guys have been asking some good ones. I appreciate that.
So do we stop rice?
No. No. Here's something funny. You know where the healthiest people on earth live? Asia. Where in Asia? No. It's not the Philippines. Have you guys ever heard of blue zones? So blue zones are pockets of people on the earth who live to more than 100 years of age in a healthy way. And there's 5 of them in the world. I live right next to one of them in Loma Linda, California. There's a little village outside of Nagasaki, Japan. There's 2 more in Asia, and one is there's 5 of those, where people just live a long time. 2 of those are in Japan. And in Japan, what do they call breakfast? It's like, I'm going to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner mixed up, but dinner, I believe, is bongohan. Gohan means rice. Bongohan means dinner rice. And there's morning rice, and there's lunch rice. That's how their meals are named. Breakfast rice, lunch rice, dinner rice, right? It's like they eat rice 3 times a day, just like you guys do. Is rice the problem? Obviously not, because these people are living long, healthy lives. What is the problem is the balance. And I'm not going to get ahead of myself on this one because we're going to talk about the balance when we get back from these breakouts. But pay attention, because what's happening with rice in the Philippines and what they're using rice for, it's not that your rice is different, but it's something that you're doing with it is very, very different. I'm going to give you something to take home today that can start turning the needle on your health immediately. You don't even have to give up rice. How cool is that? Right? I will take it away from you for 3 weeks, but after that, you can have that. Right? Is that cool?
Probably quick one. Minutes for my last question.
Do I what?
Yeah, quick, few minutes more.
I have one more question. I see Claudia's group is done, so we're going to rotate pretty quick, but I can take one more.
Okay, that means I got how to treat cancer. Because cancer has different stages, right? So stage 1, you can detect cancer when it's already stage. Because I have a long family history of cancer.
Right. And I understand that. So I'm going to answer this 2 different ways, okay? One is that's not my background. Cancer treatment is not my background. Treatment is going to require getting treated by somebody who does that. Treatment isn't what we do here. What we do here is creating an environment in the body where your body can begin to heal inside. Now, my father died of cancer when he was 64 years old, way too early. Way too early. This was actually before my own incident. That's the kind of thing that started getting my mind thinking because of what happened. So when they found my dad's cancer, his prostate cancer, he had 6 days to live, is what they told him. 6 days, they said 6 weeks to be outside. It was already in-stage cancer. It was through his body. So we were kind of desperate, right? What do we do? We have 6 days, right? So there was a cancer researcher at the University of Washington who basically told my dad, you got nothing to lose, right? My dad was like, nothing to lose. So he gave him a piece of paper and he said, do this. And my dad read it, and all that piece of paper said was stop eating this, start eating this. All that was on it. Nothing to lose, right? So my dad did exactly what he said. And 6 days turned into 10 years. Now, cancer was end stage. He never beat the cancer, it was already end stage, but it slowed down so much that not only did he live another decade, had a quality of life, and he was able to do all the things that he wanted to do to be ready, to get ready, so that my mom wasn't stuck with a bunch of stuff and whatnot. Yeah, so the power of food, and it's really important to know here, there was nothing on that paper about supplements. There's nothing on that paper about meal shakes or meal replacements. It was food. It was just food. And the power of food is huge, right? So, will it solve the problem? Don't know. Not my area of expertise. Will it definitely improve the problem? Yeah, most likely. Will it definitely not make the problem worse? Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah, and I hope that helps answer the question. And we've had cancer patients come through the program who do this in conjunction with what they're doing with their doctors and the other therapies that they're following. And their doctors report that their progress is much, much faster when they not only get the doctor's treatment, but also create the environment. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Claudia, I will give you my group.
Oh, we're changing now?
Well, your group is done and my group is done,
Okay.
and Mike talks too much.
Okay. You guys can follow me.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be right back and throw away the trash from the last one.
Just brought it for me. So I know it's a good diet, but I recently lost like 75 pounds. Okay? Yeah, I lost, so I met Belton a lot of years ago, maybe like 5 or 7 years ago. I do digital marketing, so I was helping him with his digital marketing a long time ago. So I somehow got stuck on his email list. Okay, so but I've been overweight for a long, long time. I have work kids, and I always sometimes say, oh, it's all this baby weight, and I'm just making all of these excuses and stuff. So finally, last year, January 1st, I'm ready. So for me, I wasn't necessarily sick. Maybe I was, but it wasn't. Symptoms weren't like apparent, but it was just for me. It was just pure vanity. I was like, okay, I'm ready to lose weight. I'm tired of being fat. I don't feel like this anymore. So I reached out to Melvin, and I started working with him. So it took, actually, that's not true. I reached out to Melvin, and then he told me how much it cost. And I said, oh, that's crazy. I'm not going to pay that amount of money. That's way too much money. So I started working with another coach who's only $20 a month. Okay, and I said, oh yeah, I can do this, right? So I started working with this guy, and I lost 20 pounds. Okay, but the thing was that after I started losing the weight, I was killing myself, like not eating. I totally restricted myself. What a typical diet is. I can't eat this, and I can only eat a little bit of this. That's too many calories, so I can only eat a lot of lettuce and a little bit of this, and I was hungry. And then after 2 months, then you're like, this sucks. I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. This is completely unsustainable. I lost 20 pounds and it worked, but it went from losing 2 pounds a week to losing 1 pound a week, and now I'm losing like half a pound or 0.75 pounds a week. So all week you're pushing yourself. And then that's the results. Like at this level, it's going to take like 2 years to reach my goals. There's no way, right? I can't take over, I can never go out to eat. I forget it. So I reached out about it. I really liked what he had to say. I understood the science, I read his book. I was really into it. I just wasn't really willing to spend the money. But then after, I was really determined to lose the weight. And then after doing this for 2 months, and then just kind of getting stuck, I said, okay, you know what? I have 4 kids, I have a business. I'm always investing time and money into
preach to them, and they're like, oh, you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat that. So I brought them here so they can listen, so they can understand the science behind it. Because it's not a diet. Right? It's just really a reprogramming of your brain, I call it, to understand what it is and why are those things happening to your body? Why are you sick? Why are you overweight? So just, so I started in 2010, and after I lost 20 pounds with the other program in March 15th, and then from March 15th to October, I lost the bulk of my weight. You guys done already?
No, we've merged into two groups.
Okay. Okay, cool.
But I mean,
if
they're finished, then we can go over to mine.
He told me to wait because he told me to. Okay.
So you're finished here?
I'll do it. I'll have to do a program. I'll have to do it now. We haven't done it yet. Okay. Okay. So anyways, so totally learning this trick that we're going to do right now, or this exercise, is really what it's all about. Is understanding what you're eating and what it does to your body. So your task is to take all of these items here, and together you're going to categorize them. You're going to put them into baskets. Either a carbohydrate or a fat or a protein. So you guys together figure out what it is and put it in the basket. Okay? Go ahead. And you don't have to agree with each other. You guys can talk to each other. What's this? This is it's a hard dog. Yeah, hard. Cheese. I know you just cheese. So this is what you think, right? So I think you were the leader of this one. I know. Tell me if you agree. Okay, do you agree with these? Read the labels and put them in the right box. Do you disagree with any of them?
Actually, milk is halfway.
Okay. Does anybody else disagree? Anybody else want to change anything in the boxes?
Cheese. Protein?
You think cheese is protein? We're going to put it in the middle too?
Yeah, same like that.
Okay. Anybody else?
Fat. Calories. Carbs. Protein is 6 grams.
So you think that's a carb? How about you? You want to change any of these? You think it's good? Okay. Are you guys 100% sure this is what you're ending here with? You think so? Okay. So how surprised would you be if I told you that all carbs?
Oh.
All carbs.
Why?
Because it's not about the ingredients and the food, it's how your body processes the food, right? How is it going to digest it, and what is it going to do when you eat it? Is it going to act as a carb, as a protein, as fat, right?
You mean it depends on your belief, something like that?
No?
I drink that, I believe that's fat, so it becomes fat.
That's right, yeah. Just kidding. No. So basically, what you think everything that we're talking about food is from the marketing companies, right? So they're going to tell you, drink this milk, it's going to make your bones strong, right? It has lots of calcium, and you're not going to get sick. So I don't have my glasses, guys, and who wants to read to me the ingredients, okay? Not the vitamins. I want you to read to me the ingredients at the bottom there. Okay, what does that say?
Ingredients: fresh skimmed milk, water, fresh cream, skim milk powder, milk fat, buttermilk powder, lactose emulsifier, and stabilizer.
So what's not in this carton here?
Milk.
Carbs.
That's
Carbohydrate. Real milk.
There's no milk, guys. There's no
Not
milk.
like it came from a cow.
Not milk, right? So in order for you to get all of these powders, right, they had to break down the real milk. And they came out with some sugars and some powders and some stabilizers and some water. And then they put it in the jar and they mixed it all up. They put a little sugar in there and they put fresh milk. And said, this is gonna make you strong, right? But there's nothing in here that's actually gonna make you strong, right? It's all
So it's a joke.
It's marketing.
That's why for the babies, right?
Breast milk, still best for babies.
Yeah, you know, I'm from the U.S. and when we first moved here, one of my sons was only 4 months old, and then we ran out of formula, the baby milk, the powder, right? So after about 9 months, I ran out of the shipment we had brought from the U.S. and I had to go and buy the local milk. Guess what happened to my baby?
Became active.
He had a massive allergy reaction. It was rashes, full of like red. And I was like, but why? He's not even eating anything. Took him to all these doctors. So the doctor finally points out the milk and like the number 2 ingredient in baby formula. Guess what it was? Take a wild guess. Sugar, right? So you're feeding your baby all of the sugar that causes inflammation, right? That causes skin allergies, that causes everything else, right? That's what you guys know, inflammation, everything. So they hide all of these labels under these names, but really, it's a sugar, right? It's an act like a carbohydrate. Everything you're eating, so if you're putting in your body what you think is normal, right? And then it's this, and you only have this, then you're not giving all the nutrients. How is your body going to build that beautiful house? You're only giving it the one thing that you think, oh, I'm eating a well-balanced meal. So you have to know what's in the refrigerator. What's that?
How to find the right nutrient.
That's what you have to learn. That's what you have to learn. You have to understand what's in the
This
food
is
you're
leading in the market.
Of course, that's why you have to learn. You can't trust them because why would you trust them? They're trying to make money.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Makes sense?
Yes.
Right? So you have to understand what you're eating, what you're putting in your body, what it does to your body, how it reacts when it's in your body, so you can learn. The thing is, like, the weight, you're not really restricting yourself when you're overweight. The reason why you're overweight is because your body thinks you're dying. That's it. Okay? Your body is saying, excuse my language, it's gonna say, oh shit, I have no nutrients. You better hold on to everything because you're gonna die. So then you start holding on to this fat because your body thinks you're gonna die. And then as soon as you start giving your body all the right nutrients, if you give all the things that it needs to work, then the signal goes to your brain and it says, okay, you don't really need that anymore because you're giving me all the nutrients. You can just let it go now. So all of this extra fat will like magically just shut because you don't need it. The only reason you're holding onto it is because your body thinks you're starving. So you're overfed but malnourished, right? You fill in your stomach, but there's no nutrients in it. So you have to have this fat. That's it.
That's right.
Right? So you have inflammation, you have fat, and then you have all the right things, you have energy, you live like you're supposed to live. We're not eating all the modern food. But it's really not hard, guys. It's very, very, very simple. It's just we've been trained to be buyers of this because someone wants to make money.
So mostly all of the foods are carbohydrates because of the presence of sugar.
More than likely, if you're buying everything in a box in the store, there's a lot more to it. It's not just carb, fat, or protein. There's also the additives in the food, the preservatives in the food, how much balance you're eating of each food. There's a lot more into it, but this is just to kind of illustrate what we don't know. Okay? You just don't know what's in your food, so how can you possibly know what you're feeding yourself? You can't even categorize your own food.
Yeah.
Right?
And advertisement also plays an important part.
That's right. Because whatever they tell you, oh,
yeah.
like you said, get strong bones,
Yeah.
give your kids lots of milk, right? And then you're like literally poisoning your children. Like literally.
Like my wife, she has no milk on her. She cannot do breast milk right now. So we have to. We have no choice. She cannot give milk.
Wait, but you have to choose better milks. You have to choose better milks, because some milks are more sugar than they are milk. How about almond? Depends how it's
organic milk.
It's not just organic. Again, you have to read the labels. Okay, so let me illustrate this again. Okay, so let's say, how do you break down food in your body? Now, when you put something in your stomach, what breaks it down?
Acid.
Huh?
Acid.
Acid and what else?
Digestive enzyme.
Enzymes, which are basically bacteria, right? So bacteria breaks down your food, okay? So you have this milk, and this milk tells you that it has stabilizers. Okay? What does a preservative do to the milk?
Prevents from rotting.
From spoiling, okay? It prevents it from spoiling. And what spoils food? Bacteria, right? But if you put antibacterial agents in the milk, and then you pour a nice tall glass of milk and you drink the milk, what are you drinking? How are you going to digest that?
Kills the bacteria.
You're not going to digest that, right? So then it's going to go right through. So you're feeding your body, you're stuffing it up with whatever it is you're eating it, but it's not going to be able to digest and break it down and absorb the nutrients. So let's just say you had a very well-balanced, healthy meal, like a piece of fish, and you had your broccoli with a nice tall glass of milk. Right? What happens then?
Kills the bacteria. That helps you digest it.
That's right. So what happens to the fish and the broccoli? It'll go right out. So all of the stuff that you think is good and healthy, if you don't know what you're putting in your body, you just ruin that with your nice tall glass of milk. Right? So that's why it's really important to understand what's in your food.
So how do you know that this is a special milk? There's like in keto, they just specify if the calorie or the carb is small portion, that is good.
It has nothing to do with calories. Nothing to do with calories because your body can't burn calories.
Yeah, and maybe the carbs, they measure the carbs.
So I can answer that.
Yeah.
So the point that keto and paleo and all the fat diets always fall back on is calories, because calorie is something that is labeled on everything and they can use that as a measurement. But calories actually don't equate to health. If you're supposed to have 2,500 calories in a day for your particular situation, you can get that by eating a couple slices of cake. And how's that going to serve your body? How are you going to react just from eating that cake and nothing else along with it? So just getting that calorie number, whether it be higher or lower, isn't really what affects your body in the long term. What affects your body is getting rid of the stuff that's bad and giving it the right building blocks that Belda mentioned before, the building blocks that you need to build that fantastic house that your body can be. And the problem is when, as Claudia is saying, when you have all the other chemicals and you have all the other stuff in it, it's been processed. When they take milk and they put it in here, this milk has a consistent fat level. But when it comes out of the cow, it doesn't. It varies a little bit depending on what the cow is feeding on, the grass, the grains, all these different things. So there's a little variation of fat. But in order to sell packaged stuff and to make it consistent, they actually put it in a centrifuge and they separate everything, as Claudia mentioned before. And then they add stuff back in to make it uniform. And so by doing that, you've made it unnatural and your body can't process it properly. And then you add the other things we're going to talk about, preservatives in my station, about how they affect it as well. The chemicals, preservatives, those types of things cause your body not to be able to use the foods that you eat very well. And so it doesn't really matter how many calories are in there if your body uses none of the nutrients or very little of the nutrients because it can't use them because they're artificial. right? So calories, in fact, is in the way we look at things, we don't even look at calories. We don't measure calories. We don't track what we eat. We just have a framework that says this is the amount of food that we eat, different types of food, and we follow that. We make sure we eat healthy foods. We make sure we balance it out properly. And by doing that, this is what happens. I mean, half a sack of rice gone out of my belly. So there are a lot of people here who knew me back then can attest to it. My wife, for example, didn't see me since then, and so she saw the difference when she first came in, the significant difference. And that's just from, I eat more food now than I used to eat.
It's nothing to do with how much food. It's more of a balance of what's in the food and what's not in the food, right?
And one of the challenges when you think about calories, like I said, you eat lots of cake, you can get your calorie count up really high, right? And so we say, oh, well, that's bad for you. Of course, you wouldn't do that. Well, you eat Burger King, you eat McDonald's, those have high calorie ratings as well, right? So if we're tracking calories, we learn that because that's what we're trying to do. But if we think in calories, we're not necessarily thinking the way our body operates, because our body doesn't operate on calories, even though that's what we're told all over, because it's just an easy thing to measure. What our body operates is on nutrients, and getting all the nutrients that your body needs. And to give you an example of how it works, let's say you're stuck in the desert, a remote area, and your car breaks down, and you have to get out and start to walk. And before you can come to town, you're almost dying. You're dehydrated, you haven't had any food, you're getting ready to fall down, and you come upon a Jollibee. Are you going to say, well, Jollibee's not healthy according to Mel and Mike and Claudia, so I'm not going to eat there? No, of course you're going to eat, right? Otherwise you're going to die.
I told you so. I told you so. Had breakfast.
But you're going to eat what you have to eat to survive, right? And so you're going to eat that. And the calories are going to be high, and it's okay. You might drink a soda because you're dehydrated, and that's okay. It tastes so good because you're so dehydrated, and it's cold, it's hot outside, and you eat that. Now you get home, and everything is good, you survived, things are all right, you get home and you're thinking, man, I ate all those calories. So I'm just going to have a late dinner, and I'm going to eat a salad, and I'm going to drink some water, and I'm going to go to bed, right? But what you didn't realize is that when you ate all those calories, you didn't have the nutrients your body needed. And so you didn't feed your body what it really needs. So when you ate that salad, that right meal at the end of the day, you still didn't feed your body. So now for the whole day, you have to feed your body what it needs. So your body can't repair itself. It can't get better. It can't help you generate the energy you need, all the different things you need to thrive. We're in survival mode most of the time. We try to move that from survive to thrive, thriving. And so when you get home, if you think about it not as calories, if you think about it as nutrition, then you realize that what I had wasn't nutritious enough. So I need to have a full balanced dinner of all the good stuff to give my body what it needs to fully recover from the situation I was in. And so that's why we don't look at calories at all. This came without calories. That came without calories. You've seen our picture, even if you didn't know us before. You've seen the pictures on the website.
I saw your pictures.
And so it works just from.
How about the vitamins and minerals? Is it good or not?
If they're in the food, it's good. Are you talking about a pill?
No. Supplements, no.
So supplements are extreme. Actually, supplements are good for the company that's selling them because they make a lot of money. No offense to people here might be selling them, but supplements. People make a lot of money on supplements, but that's not why they're bad. But that's just something that we've been taught that we need because we're not. But it's even an acknowledgement that the food that we're eating is not good enough, that you need to supplement it, right? So that's the first sign that there's something wrong with our food that we're eating in our society. But the problem with supplements is that they're artificial. So you're putting together all these artificial things, and then you're putting other things together to bind them together, to put it together into a pill, to make the pill so it can dissolve easy in water, if you have the higher end supplements, so supposedly that's better for you. But at the end of the day, that the iron that's in there, or the vitamin C, the vitamin Bs are in there, all that stuff is not in a natural form. So your body will use a little bit of that, but most of it will just expel. And that's why supplements usually have, you get a vitamin C pill and it has 1,000% of your daily portion of vitamin C, and you take 2 of those a day and you still get sick. Why is that? Vitamin C is supposed to keep you from getting sick, right? Because your body's not getting it, and they know that, and that's why they have so much in there. The guidelines by the food regulators say that they only have to put on the label what went into the pill, not what came out. And the processing of that takes a lot of those vitamins out and makes them inert to begin with. and then the ones that are left are just not natural, so your body doesn't know how to deal with those properly. So I'll give you an example, kind of related, but it's a slightly different subject. We all know that olive oil is healthy, right?
Yeah.
So, but olive oil is not good for you. Eating healthy food is not the same as eating healthy. Olive oil by itself is not good for your body because your body can't use it.
So it's good.
So if you eat the olive now, if you eat the olive including the oil, it's good for you. Because the fruit itself has enzymes in there that help your body process oil. And when you separate the two, your body cannot process oil properly.
I'm so curious.
Which is oil.
So that means it's better to eat
Eating olives are good. So that's a similar thing, because once you've separated that's the thing that actually can be healthy if you eat the whole olive, then it's healthy for you. Once you separate it, your body can't utilize it. And that's what makes it not serve your body, not help your body to be more healthy. Now, other oils are really bad for your body, right? So compared to that, olive oil is not as bad as others, but it doesn't help you either. It doesn't help you become healthy. But it's the same thing with the supplements. Every supplement they have, first of all, if you're eating the right foods, you don't need the supplements. The reason you need the supplements is because this processed food, the fast food that we eat in our civilized society, it's I hate to say it, it's crap. It's not good for you. It doesn't have what you need. And the way we're taught about it is not right.
Are all canned foods are not good? Anything that has a can?
What you need to do in any food that's processed, you look at, you need to read the label. And you read the label, you're going to find out whether it's good for you or not. So this has made from white beans. It doesn't even say ingredients. It says made from white beans, water, sugar, tomato paste, ionized salt, pork, spices, and seasoning. Spices. What is spices? What is
spices?
They're hidden meanings. You don't know what they put in.
It's a generic.
MSG. Is that some have MSG, but
I thought like pepper. You think, but you don't know, right? Because they don't have just to get
so you're gambling whether this thing is okay for you or not. I mean, the sugar, you guys already saw the sugar demonstration, so you know about that. And unfortunately, sugar is like the third thing here after water. And so sugar is very heavy in here. The other stuff necessarily isn't going to hurt you very much, but when they put spices and seasonings, you never know what they put in there.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so you have a choice to make. Do you want to gamble and try it? And if you try it, it's not going to be the end of the world, because your body, once your body's healthy, your body will tell you whether it has something bad in there or not. But what we've learned is that most of the things that, when you look at most labels, you'll find out there's stuff in there that you don't know what it is, or you know it is preservatives or seasonings.
Anytime it says seasonings, it's usually MSG. It's usually a bunch of other
chemicals
stuff to make your brain think it's tastier than it really is, so you can become addicted to it, so you can buy more, so they can make more money.
For marketing,
okay? Exactly.
So the better is it has no taste. I mean, bland taste.
Well, you're going to have lunch here in a little while, and you can tell us what it tastes. If you feel this food is bland, I'll buy you McDonald's.
I've been here for quite some time. I think it's getting a little late. What time is it?
It's a little bit after 12. We started a little bit late. So
And you've been here for quite some time, meaning you're able to eat the right food, right? So these are available also in the Philippines.
The reason we have the cafe here, the reason we have the NF Cafe is to serve our employees here in Philippines Software. So we have 160 employees, and so we serve them healthy food, and they're Filipinos, and so they're going to have the same concerns about the food, this diet food, all this type of stuff we've heard over time. But the flavor, just because it's diet food doesn't mean it has to be bland.
The rice,
basically Filipino foods are oily and
It's salt.
So maybe
as long as it's just
rock
salt's fine.
Iodized
In moderation, guys. Of course.
Iodized.
Iodized salt is not too bad for you, but
it's not
the other salts are better.
You alternate pink salt.
Himalayan salt, that's what I say. So maybe we should move to the next session to speed things up, because we're kind of crossing the concepts anyway. So it might be a good time.
All right, man. Philippine salt. Oh, what's this?
That's
Gas stuff.
Based on our last conversation, who wants to try to drink this for me?
What's that?
Oh, I think that's more
Nobody
of.
knows. That's what I said. It has something in there to make it
I think it's
turn
acidic water.
This is iced
no.
tea.
So we don't know what it is. Actually,
Red
it's
tea
not.
in
It's
the
not for
leaf.
drinking. It's for demonstration.
Oh.
So now we have when you have fresh food, if you don't eat it or you don't put it in a wrap or you leave it too long anywhere, what happens to the food?
Fresh food?
It goes bad, right? No, any kind of food, like a vegetable or fruit, food starts to deteriorate, right? It spoils, it goes bad. And that happens from bacteria. That bacteria in the food is what causes that food to go bad. So what we do in modern society and modern processed food is we put preservatives in that food to kill that bacteria. So if this red glass here, this is all the bacteria that's causing the food to go bad. The bacteria that's in the food that causes it to go bad over time. But we also have good bacteria. This is green liquid here. Good bacteria are what we call probiotics, right? So we all know that we have bacteria in our intestines, in our digestive system, and there are supplements for that as well, right? That we take probiotics, or we drink Yakult, or we eat yogurt to improve our good antibodies, or the bacteria, the probiotics in our intestines. Because we need that, because that's what breaks down the food to give us, get those nutrition. The nutrients out. They get the nutrients out of the food so that our body can absorb it and use it. So Belden talked about metabolism, right? About breaking down food and catabolism and anabolism to recombine that food into things that our body can use. But if you can't break down the food into the main nutrients, then you can't put them back together to the building blocks that your body needs. And so that's an important part of digestion. That's why we're told all the time to increase our probiotics. And just actually an interesting fact is that an apple has more probiotics than Yakult. A natural apple has more probiotics than Yakult. So we're not taught that. Because why aren't we taught that? Because Yakult doesn't make any money if you eat apples, right? They only make money when you buy their drink.
Yes.
And
This is a red apple.
And if you look at the ingredients in Yakult, back to our previous conversation, you'll see one of the primary ingredients is sugar. Right? So apples, apples are good food. So the apple a day keeps the doctor away. Remember that? It's actually based on a reality, as something true. But let's just imagine that this is the bad bacteria in our food that's causing the food to spoil. So what the food companies do is they take preservatives and they put it in the food. And those preservatives actually kill the bacteria. And that's what allows the bacteria, the food to last longer, to have a longer shelf life. It removes all that bacteria from the food. It kills it. And the food doesn't go bad. Now, in order for the shelf life to be long, that preservative has to keep working for a long period of time too, because bacteria is all around us and it will continue to get in the food and cause it to go bad. So that stays that way. So, but then when we eat that food, what happens to our probiotics? Well, if you eat the food with the preservative, then it kills the good bacteria that's in our intestines. That's why we need to keep supplementing it all the time, because the food we're eating is basically poisoning our digestive system and keeping us from the ability to break down the food into nutrients that we can use. And so even though that we didn't eat preservatives directly, or we didn't try to do that, by eating the food, the fast food, the processed food that has all those preservatives, that's what happens to your digestive system. So it doesn't matter how much healthy food you eat if you're feeding preservatives, because you're still only getting a small amount of those nutrients. Same with the, like I said, with the supplements, only getting a small percent of what's actually in there that actually gets absorbed into your body. It's the same thing with natural food. So if you don't eliminate the bad stuff, and that's why I said earlier too, the secret is eliminating the bad stuff, eating the good stuff, and then learning how to balance it out properly so that your body's getting all the nutrients that it needs. That's the only secret to health. I eat more food now. We shop at a local market here, Pampang. For those of you that are here from Manila, Pampang is actually right near here, market. That's where we shop. And then you can get from grocery store as well. The fresh produce, fruits, and the meat section. But these are all natural, local ingredients. In fact, these as a thing we'll look at when we're in the cooking demo, we'll talk about sweeteners that you can use, because stevia is a good sweetener. It's a natural sweetener. It's actually the only protein-based sweetener that exists, and it's good. But if you buy stevia packets in the store, they got sugar and a lot of other crap in there, because stevia, a small pinch of stevia is equivalent to a couple teaspoons of sugar. And so you only need a little bit, so it's hard to use stevia. People wouldn't feel satisfied if they had a packet that only had a pinch in there, right? So they put other fillers in there that a lot of times can make it bad. So you even have to look at that. Some of them are not so bad for you, some of them are bad for you. But we use stevia tea leaves, which we even grow here in the Philippines, stevia plants. And so we use tea leaves as a sweetener for cooking. So we boil those, make a really concentrated stevia tea, and then it's sweet, and we use that as a flavor enhancer for some of the food that we're cooking. So, all right. Any questions about this before we go back inside?
Nope.
No?
All clear.
Okay. All right, good. We can talk more over lunch as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
This is my, oh, I'm back on. I was just getting ready to yell somewhere. So what do you guys think after going through those 3 demonstrations? What are your takeaways? Who wants to comment on what surprised you?
Yes.
Yes. For diabetes, no. It does cause some other things going on though, doesn't it? Yeah. What are the takeaways? Yes.
Be a very smart buyer. Read the labels.
Definitely.
Be very particular about the ingredients.
Oh yeah, because you can be picking up things that you think are the best building blocks on earth, and you look over and check that label, and you're like, oh my goodness, I've been giving my builder horrible stuff to work with. What other takeaways do you have?
The killing of good bacteria.
Isn't that a cool demonstration?
Yes.
Yeah.
Magic.
And it's the coolest thing on earth. It's the coolest thing on earth. It's like, we want to have food last forever on a shelf. We want mayonnaise that should go bad in 2 weeks because it's full of eggs. And we want it to last for 5 years and still be able to spread it on a sandwich, right? We do. We want bread to last forever. We want shelf life. And the way we get that is by killing gut bacteria. Crazy, right? Yes?
Is there something being done about this person? Is there something they can use other than this? You're saying?
So the short answer to your question is we lived without them for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. We didn't start using them until the 1940s and 50s. So clearly, we had ways to do this for a long, long time. And right now, all we're trying to do is maximize profit for food companies. Shelf life is all about profit. If food doesn't go bad, we don't lose money.
That's right.
What else? What other takeaways did you guys have?
Never take 2 packets of sugar on an empty stomach, especially if you're already in it already.
Now, if I wasn't afraid of you before, I am now. What else? Anyone? So, I want to give kind of a quick review of what we talked about, and let's start with this table right here. Because inflammation, and you guys got an actual demonstration of what inflammation is, right? What it feels like. And there's so many parts of your body that you can't feel, right? When you get below here in your throat, you don't have nerve endings inside anymore. So what's happening in your stomach and in your digestive system, you can't even feel that. Most of the inside of your body is that way. So when inflammation is happening and it's causing you to deteriorate from the inside out, you have no way to feel it. You have no way to know it. And yet it's the #1 cause of heart disease. It causes liver damage. It causes renal damage, which is your kidneys. It causes arthritis, chronic illnesses and pain of all sorts. And you don't know it until it's too late. Because everything that's building up to it, you can't feel. And until something breaks, it doesn't show up on your blood test either. Crazy, right? It causes decreased energy. When you're feeling lethargic, it may be as simple as inflammation. When you're crashing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when you're feeling like you can't get out of bed in the morning, you just want to keep slapping the alarm snooze button, right? Chronic pain and disease. Inflammation is the leading cause, but inflammation is super easy to get rid of. Super easy. And you know why it's super easy to get rid of? Because we're causing it. All we need to do is stop causing it. And when we stop causing it, our body will heal it. And we'll heal it fairly quickly. We're in control. That's a lot of power when you realize that. Food identification. How many people were surprised that everything on that table was a carb? Was anybody surprised? One? Yeah, there you go. Everything, because we're taught that milk is protein, right? We're taught that nuts and beans are protein, and we're taught that all of this stuff is protein. But here's something funny. It doesn't matter what's in food. I know people are saying, Belden, you just told us about the building blocks you got to put in the body. Now you're telling us it doesn't matter what's in food. The only thing that matters is how your body uses that food. So you fill your body full of milk, and milk is full of protein, but your body goes to lactose first. It starts using that milk as a carbohydrate, not as a protein. So how your body uses food is super cool. Now you guys want to know something really awesome? I haven't even told Claudia this yet. You want to know something cool? How many carbs do you guys think are in rum? And if you guys heard me say this here before, keep quiet. How many carbs are in rum? Who has an idea? Anybody? Take a guess, besides mine. Take a guess. Just somebody shoot out a number. How many carbs do you think are in rum? Just shoot a number.
120.
120. Higher or lower? You guys think higher or lower? You guys think higher or lower?
Higher.
You guys think higher? Way higher?
Oh, wow. Really?
0.
Zero.
There are 0 carbs in rum. And there are 0 carbs in vodka and 0 carbs in tequila, my personal favorite. And 0 carbs in whiskey. So why are we putting that? Why are we putting that in the carb basket when it has no carbs? And the reason goes back to how your body uses it. When you put an alcohol into your body, your liver, which creates blood sugar, stops creating blood sugar. And it has only one focus, and that's to metabolize the alcohol that you just put in your body. And while you're metabolizing alcohol and not creating blood sugar, your blood sugar begins to drop. That means as soon as the alcohol is metastasized, and not metastasized, metabolized, as soon as it's gone, then your body has a recognition. Hey, we're way low on blood sugar. So we begin flooding the body with glucose, which creates a blood sugar spike. You guys heard me talk about blood sugar spikes over here and what that causes. So that blood sugar spike, or your body flooding you with glucose, creates a response very similar to what happens when you eat too many carbs and you've got your carbs out of balance. So we here at Nutritional Fitness classify a substance that has no carbs at all in the carb category, not because of what's in it, but because of how your body uses it. Is that cool stuff to know? How food works in there? Yeah, crazy. So, another thing, about an hour per shot or per beer or per alcohol to metabolize alcohol. That's not really an accurate number, but it's what doctors use. But let's just use that for the sake of argument. You have a drink, your liver spends an hour metabolizing that drink, your blood sugars drop for that hour, you have to come up a little bit. You have 8 drinks, and your body spends the next 8 hours metabolizing alcohol, and your blood sugars are dropping way down. You have 12 drinks, and when you get up in the morning, the walls are still trying to knock you off your feet, and nothing's holding still for you. That means your body is still metabolizing alcohol, and your blood sugars are still dropping. So the more you have to drink, the more pronounced this effect is going to be in your body once that alcohol is metabolized. And the more you're going to begin overproducing glucose, the more you're going to begin to have trouble. So part of this is a matter of degrees, right? A 0 alcohol substance in the, or a 0 carb substance in the carb bin. Cool. Cool. I love this stuff. Mike's Table. Do you guys have fun over at Mike's Table looking at preservatives?
Yes.
Anybody have fun over there?
Yeah.
I want that table. I was like jealous of Mike when he put this thing together. I'm like, that's super cool.
But I wasn't going to eat the sugar.
But he wasn't going to eat the sugar. I did. You know what? The back of my throat still hurts. The back of my throat still hurts. So when you're looking at preservatives, preservatives are there to do what? Who knows? Kill bacteria? Does everybody agree with that? You're wrong. You're wrong. Preservatives, I don't care what Mike said. Preservatives are in your food to make money for food companies, and you need to understand that. You need to understand that very, very, very clearly, because if you think these people care about you, you are absolutely wrong. I'm going to tell you a huge secret. Back in the 1950s through the 1990s in America, we had a war between tobacco companies and the government and people in general, because tobacco companies didn't care if they killed you. They didn't care if they got you hopelessly addicted to a product that was going to make you sick. They didn't care, as long as they made you addicted enough that they got every dime out of you before you died. Yeah. Now, is there anybody who believes that's not true? Is there anybody who believes tobacco companies cared about you? Does anybody believe that? Who believes tobacco companies cared about people?
I work for a tobacco company.
Did they care about people?
My boy, number one.
Did they care? Did they care about people?
That's not 100%. But it's the people who want to stop it.
You can make that argument. It doesn't change the fact that it's a substance that causes pain and suffering and death. Now, back in 2000, in the late 1990s in America, the U.S. government actually made a change in tobacco companies. Tobacco companies had to start very stringent labeling on their products. They had to start or stop marketing to younger people. They could only market to older people. Certain icons of the cigarette industry just disappeared because they were specifically designed to appeal to kids. So the government made all of that go away. And as that happened, profits in tobacco companies came down. They didn't stop, but they came down. Now all of a sudden we're not making money. So the largest of all the tobacco companies, Philip Morris, changed their name and became the Altria Group. And the Altria Group today is the largest food company on the planet. Now, do you think they changed their marketing plan? Do you think they said, oh, we're the Altria Group now, we care about you? Okay, they probably did say that. But do you think it's real? Or do you think maybe the part of the problem in the food system and part of the problem with addictive elements being added to food and part of the problem with the fact that we're becoming a more and more and more sick and diseased society because of the food we're eating is coming because food companies know how to make money. They did it with cigarette companies for years. Get people addicted, don't care if they get sick or not, as long as you get as much money out of them as you can before they die. And it's important that you guys understand that and that you see what's happening, because it allows you to get a little bit upset. It allows you to say, you're not doing that to me anymore. I'm not going to eat stuff with additives in it that hurt me. So yes, preservatives kill bacteria. They kill bacteria to stop spoilage so that we can have shelf life. And yeah, those very same things are making it so that even if you eat the right foods, you cannot digest them. And you can't process them and get them up into your body. Make sense? I love Mike's demonstration. Next time I'm going to get that one. So go ahead and switch the page. And let's go to the last one, because I still want you to take notes that you can take away with you. Okay? The human body is a series of chemical reactions. Is that true or false? What do you guys think? True? True, true, true? True? Cool. Does everybody agree? Everything going on in here is a series of chemical reactions. Now this is an awesome thing. This is the coolest thing in the world, and it's a reason that I love being a chemist. Because chemistry is absolutely predictable, and it's absolutely consistent. If I put the right things in the beaker, I get the right reactions out. Every time. I don't put the chemicals in this time and it works, and I put the chemicals in that time and it doesn't work. No, it works every time. If I want a specific chemical reaction and I fill my beaker full of stuff and I don't get the reaction I wanted, what happened? Anybody?
Wrong formula. Wrong ingredients.
Wrong ingredients. Something's in the beaker that doesn't belong there, or I need something in there that isn't there. It's one of those two things. Otherwise, I would get the reaction I wanted. So the human body is a series of chemical reactions. It's time we start looking at our body as a beaker. And if we're not getting the reaction that we want, wow, I want to be the weight I was when I was 22 because that felt good and I liked it. I looked in the mirror, it's like, whoa, cool stuff. I want to be what I was before whatever event it was in your life, whatever your milestones are. And I'm not. I'm not getting the right reaction out. Why aren't I getting the right reaction out? I'm just a beaker. It's because I'm not putting the right things in. I'm getting chronic pain and illness. Why? I'm a beaker. What's going wrong? I'm not putting the right things in. Does that make sense, guys? What we're talking about? It's another way of looking at what we were talking about in the beginning. When we were talking about the house up on the hill and getting the right building blocks into our body. It's a great analogy of what's really happening. What's really happening is getting the right chemicals into the beaker. And we get the right chemicals into the beaker the same way all mammals do, and that's by what we eat. To a lesser extent, what we put on our skin. So we need to put the right things in, we need to keep the wrong things out, and we need to create the right balance of chemicals. And that balance has incredible power. When people talk to me about what do I eat, what can I eat, what foods are going to make this work for me, we talk about balance because there's nothing out there that you haven't seen before when it comes to the right things to eat. I have clients all the time, they get their food menu and they're like, Belden, what have you sold me here? I just paid a bunch of money and you gave me what I've been eating my whole life. Well, yeah, but let me explain something. If this were a beaker, this Chemistry 101 I'll teach you for a little bit. If this is a beaker and I filled it half full of a really, really, really powerful acid, an acid so powerful that I could drop nails in it and it would eat nails in less than a minute. And I took the other half of this beaker and I put in it an equally powerful base. Now, a base is how the mob gets rid of the bodies, if you don't know. Put the body in the bathtub, fill it up with a base, it dissolves it, you pull the plug, out goes your body. Two very, very dangerous chemicals, but if I put them in here in the right balance, they react to create salt water. I remember when I watched my high school chemistry teacher do this experiment. I mean, he literally had, boom, dissolving nails, and he had, boom, dissolving steak. And he put them into, those two chemicals, into a beaker, and he took a drink out of it. Yeah, tastes bad, it's very salty. Yeah, it'll dehydrate you a little bit, but it won't hurt you. Why? It was the balance. What do you think would have happened if he'd accidentally gotten too much base and not enough acid, and he goes to drink it? Well, it would melt his throat from the inside out. What would happen if he got too much acid and not enough base? Well, it would create inflammation way, way, way faster than what you saw right here, and it would start to corrode his larynx and cause all kinds of problems in his body. But you get them in the right balance, and you have salt water. Something that's not even a dangerous substance. That illustrates the importance of balance in your beaker. It's not just what you eat, it's the balance in which you eat them. So if you have a really, really, really delicious food that's something that's perfectly healthful for you to eat, and you say, that's really good, so I'm going to eat 18 pounds of it, and that's all I'm going to have today. What just happened to the balance in your beaker? Right? It went way over the side, went way over the top. And now all of a sudden, it's not a healthful food at all. And this is why we need to reframe the way we look at food. We talk about what food is healthy, what food is not healthy. Well, pineapples are perfectly healthy. I promise you, if you eat nothing but pineapples, you're going to die. So at what point do pineapples stop becoming healthy? And this is the balance thing that we're talking about. So when you're looking at food, you need to ask a different question. Instead of saying, is this healthy food? Oh, it is? Cool, I can eat as much as I want of that. We need to ask, does this food serve me? Does it serve my body? Does it serve my health goals? Because that's a way different question. When you ask, does this food serve me, it doesn't matter if it's healthy. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying eat unhealthy food. But the fact that it's healthy doesn't matter. What matters is it going to get the right things in my beaker to get the result out of my beaker that I want for myself? And this is the way that we achieve nutritional fitness. We achieve nutritional fitness by getting the right things in the beaker, keeping the wrong things out, and getting the right balance of those things to meet my health goals. In the real world, it means we know beyond any shadow of a doubt what a healthy human chemical environment looks like. Medicine is based on the fact that we're all pretty much the same. Open us up, things are where they belong. Hopefully they all work. And when we test our blood sugar or our blood, we know what the markers should be, and we know when they go silent. We know what a healthy human chemistry looks like. But we also know how that chemistry is affected when we take a blood pressure medication, or when we take a cholesterol medication, or when we have a chronic illness, or when we have a family history, or when we have an injury. We know what all of these things do to body chemistry. The challenge then is, how do we bring that body chemistry back to that healthy human body chemistry that creates an environment where our body can do what it does best? What does our body do best? Anybody? What does our body do best? It keeps you optimally healthy. That's your body's one job. Your one job is to give it what it needs to do that task. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. There's a last box on this page, and I want you guys to take a look at it. It says, if our genie, same genie, Robin's mine, you guys can all have Will. If our genie took us to the future and your body were, and I want you to think about this carefully, put yourself a year into the future and ask yourself this question looking back. If your body were thin, energetic, optimally healthy, what would your life look like? What would be different? What would you do differently? I'm going to take just a few minutes to fill that box out, okay? You're in the future. You've already started putting the right things in your body. You know what the balance is that serves you. When you look at food, you no longer say, do I want pizza? Instead, you say, do I really want to feel like I feel after I eat pizza? You're making decisions that serve you, that serve your body, serve your goals. You look in the mirror and you're in like total alignment, because that you that you see in your head is also the you that you see in the mirror, and that feels really good. You roll out of bed in the morning, you're ready to go, you're energetic, you want to go right away. At the end of the day, you're still feeling great, you're sleeping better. What would your life look like? Who would like to share? What would be different in your life if you had the energy, the body, and the health that you want? If it was already yours, what would you be doing?
Running a marathon.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
That's
like
awesome.
That's my goal, like, before I die.
That's cool. Do you know which one?
No, I don't know which one, but it's definitely like one of my goals.
Nice. So we had a client 4 years ago. She was 72 years old, and her goal was to run the Boston Marathon. She's now run it twice. Yeah, that's a cool goal, by the way. We also have an ultra marathon runner. I don't recommend that for anybody. She runs 80-mile races. She runs 30 miles on the weekend for practice. That's nuts, right? But you can do that. You can do that. Who else? What would you be doing with your life if you? What would you be doing with your life if you had this already?
I'll probably be doing Muay Thai and fencing
Can you be on my side? Because I'm afraid of John right now. He's going to Muay Thai on you.
Probably more into sports.
Very
I've
cool.
never been into sports when I was younger.
So you'd be more active.
Yes.
Way more active. That's cool. That's cool. It's a good thing. Who else? What would you be doing?
I'll probably be doing all the things that I want to do. Me and my husband would like to do some adventures, like nature adventures, something like that.
Very cool. Very cool. So travel, get out, experience things in a new way.
Yeah.
I learned how to scuba dive this weekend.
We tried a year ago. It was fun. I almost quit when we were near the shipwreck in Coron. I almost quit, but the instructor said we're almost there.
Why did you almost quit?
I have TMJ. Biting on the oxygen
you were feeling it right
made
there.
I had a lockjaw. So I was so nervous. So I went up and said, I don't like anymore. But the coach, the trainer was so persistent. So I had to see the shipwreck. And it was worth it. It's amazing. Fantastic.
You want more of that, don't you? You get a taste for adventure, you just want more.
Yes.
More and more and
yes.
more. So, not everybody has to tell me, but does everybody know what their life would look like if you already had that optimally healthy body?
Yeah.
You all have that clear picture there? Now, I want you guys, this is like our only woohoo thing. I'm a scientist, I'm not a woohoo guy. But we're going to do this little exercise. I want you all to close your eyes. Not hard, just relax. And what I want you to do is visualize that life. You're there, it's done. You feel so amazing. You look in the mirror and you're like, oh, hell yeah. And you're just ready to go. You're ready to get it done. And what I want you to do is tell me how that feels. How does it feel to have that life? Shout it out, anyone.
Empowering.
Empowering. I like it.
Amazing.
Amazing. It feels good, doesn't it? Doesn't it just feel awesome?
Yeah.
And the question is, how badly do you want that feeling?
So very bad.
You can go ahead and open your eyes now. Hopefully, that's the motivation you need to start taking what you're putting in your body a different way, to see food differently, to see your body differently, and to see hope instead of struggle, and to see the possibilities instead of the roadblocks. Because it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long at all. Mike will tell you that he went through his journey in about 5.5 months, lost 55 pounds, gained energy. How long were you from start to finish?
About 6 months.
About 6 months. And you guys know Mike and Claudia, and you've watched them go through the transformations that they've gone through. And, you know, to me, honestly, she's freaking beautiful. Mike is hot. Don't tell him I said that. But the fact is, that's not what matters. What matters is that they're energetic, and they're getting things done, and they're thinking clearly, and they're able to do things that they weren't able to do before. The confidence level is up. Those are the things that really matter at the end of the day. The looks are great, don't get me wrong. But the rest of it is the thing that's really going to catapult your life to where you really want your life to be. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So what I want to leave you with is this. First of all, I want you to take home the paper that you filled out today, and I want you to spend some time looking at what your goals were at the beginning and looking at what your life would be like if you've already reached those goals. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then I want you to understand the 4 steps, we're going to talk about those right now, 4 steps that you need to go through to be able to accomplish this for yourself. The first step is you have to get your energy up, and you have to get it up first. Energy in your body is a chemical called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. It's a molecule that lives in your cells. It never goes away. Now, you guys remember when you were little kids and you were jumping up and down and running around in circles and you had energy for days? Do you guys remember that? Put your hand in the air if you remember that. Remember what it was like to have that kind of energy? It's cool, right? And that's ATP. It lives in your body. It's still there. And if it's still there, why aren't you feeling that today? Well, it's because what you're putting in your body is blocking it from being able to recharge and do its job. ATP provides energy by exploding. A little tiny explosion in your cell releases tremendous amounts of energy that your cell harnesses and uses for the work it does. Then you have a busted up molecule. So it goes into the beaker of your cell, the mitochondria, and in there a chemical reaction puts it back together. Everything in your body is chemistry, right? How long does it take a chemical reaction to happen once everything's in the beaker? How long does it take? You put the right things in the beaker, how long does it take for the reaction? Seconds. Less. Yeah. Usually it's almost instantaneous. If you have the right collection of chemicals in that beaker, it's almost instantaneous. So this ADP and a loose phosphate group go into your mitochondria and bam, they're back into ATP and they come out. And they explode and they fill you with energy and they go in and they get put back together and they come out and they explode. It's limitless. It is literally limitless. And the only thing keeping that from happening to you today, the way it happened when you were a kid, is getting the right things in the beaker so that that reaction can take place. Getting your energy up is the platform that you'll use for everything else. It will clear up your thinking. It will help you be motivated. It will help you take action. It will help you implement and get things done. The second thing that needs to happen once you have energy, and by the way, 10 to 14 days into nutritional fitness, your energy will be 100% different than it is today. And from there, we'll go places that you didn't even think were a thing. Saudi and Mike tell me that when they try to describe energy to people, they get kind of blank stares because you can't understand what you've never experienced. But you have experienced it. You've all been kids. You know what it's like, and you can have it back. 10 to 14 days. Once you achieve that, you need to start seeing food through a new lens, and we talked about that, remember? You need to start asking yourself the question, does this food serve me? Right? Humans are the only creatures on the planet, that can hold up a food and say, that's junk food. That's probably toxic. I'm pretty sure that's not good for me. And then eat it.
Eat trash.
There's not another creature on the planet that will voluntarily do that. By the time other creatures are eating what doesn't serve them, it's the only thing there is to eat. And we need to develop that to where we see food that serves us and food that doesn't serve us, and we make decisions accordingly. Then we need to get straight into our emotional and our mental connections. Because let's be honest, if you could have a food list and everybody ate it and disease went away and everybody was thin, we wouldn't have an obesity problem. We wouldn't have a disease problem. But we make emotional and mental connections between food and our emotions, between food and our environment, between food and our activities. And pretty soon we have food connected to everything. Go to the movies, what do you have to have? Yeah, you're driving down the road, what do you have to have?
Soda.
You've got it. I mean, you know what they are. We've made these connections, and we have to dive into those mental and emotional connections and rewire them, because we're never going to see long-term success if we don't rewire those connections and stop being a pawn of food company marketing and start taking control of what we're doing with our food choices. And the fourth thing that we have to do is understand, once we get there, how do we stay there? Because it does no good to lose a lot of weight. It doesn't do any good to reduce blood sugar numbers. It doesn't do any good to get your A1C down if you then turn around and gain it all back. So the 4 steps: get your energy back, see food differently, rewire your mental and emotional connections, and learn how to stay that way. And this last one is kind of fun, because I used to have diet programs tell me, hey, Thanksgiving's easy. Don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat that, and barely eat that, and you're going to be fine. And you know what that sounded like to me? Oh my God, Thanksgiving just got unfun. You just took the fun right out of it. right? We are wired as human beings to indulge from time to time. For as long as there have been people, there have been harvest festivals, marriage festivals, seasons of indulgence where people overtook or overpartook of food and drink. And yet somehow didn't get sick, didn't become obese, didn't get chronic pain and illness. How? Well, they knew what to do the next day. And you need to know what to do the next day so that you can indulge and not feel deprived and enjoy what this life has to offer and still know how to keep your baseline and keep your results. Those 4 things make sense? Yeah. Cool. Does anybody have any questions of what we talked about up to this point? We only have about 10 minutes for questions, but anyone at all? Yes?
You said before earlier that it's not about how healthy the food is, but it is about the balanced food. I mean, pineapple are good, but too much of it is bad. Mm-hmm. So how do we balance the food that we are going to eat?
Mm-hmm. So I have to be clear about one thing. I didn't say it doesn't matter if food is healthy or not, because food that's not healthy should not be in your body. But even if it is healthy, you've got the balance of things. And to be honest with you, that depends, right? Let's say, for example, well, we've got examples in here. We have someone with chronic disease in here. That's going to take a different balance of food, because if healthy body chemistry is here and their medications and illnesses have put it here, then we need to bring that back to center. Whereas you might have a family history that's pushed you this way. So the balance that's going to bring you back to center is different than another person's. We're going to talk about that in just a second, because that requires a certain amount of understanding and working with people individually. Once we're at center, we know what a healthy body chemistry is. We know exactly how to keep that there. We keep that there by getting a large amount of leafy green vegetables every day. That means more than like 2 or 3 leaves of spinach. That's not a large amount, right? But you need a lot of these, because 85% of the things that your body needs to be healthy and survive come from leafy green vegetables. 85% of the building blocks of the stuff that needs to be in the beaker. And then you need to have the roughage vegetables, the things that provide fiber to clean your body out. And then you need to have a balance of carbohydrates and proteins. Why do I say a balance? Well, because they need each other. These guys that are saying you have to be all carbohydrates, and not you, by the way, I'm just looking at you. The guys that say that you need to be all carbohydrates, plant-based diet, all plants are carbohydrates, by the way, let's be clear, every one of them. We need to be an all carbohydrate diet with no meats. That doesn't work well. And these guys over here that say we need to be all meats and no vegetables, that doesn't work well either. Carbohydrates, processed proteins, and proteins, meat, or carbohydrates, they need to be in balance. So those are the 4 steps to it, and that keeps a healthy body healthy. So the question then is, how do we get a person to that healthy point? And that's what we do at Nutritional Fitness, working with people individually. And there's a couple of ways that we do that. I work with people one-on-one and coach people and be the role of the personal health guide to help them through the various stages. We do that with an extremely high rate of efficacy. 92% of the people who come into this program and work with me come out of this program not only at their health goal, but maintaining it indefinitely. So what about the 8? I always get that. Who's going to ask me? What about the 8%, Belden?
What about the 8%?
There you go. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. 8% of the people just don't show up, right? It's like they come into the program, but I don't know, they're not ready for it. Something comes up, life happens, they just don't show up. And if you don't show up and do it, it's not going to happen for you. But if you show up at Nutritional Fitness and you listen, learn, and implement, you are going to come out of this program having met your health goals. And if there's something medical that prevents that, if something's already broken and it's too late, I'm going to tell you that. We don't work with people that we can't help. So we'll tell you that, we'll be honest. But you come in here, it's going to happen for you. So people who work with me, 92% long-term success rate, there are a couple of people that I'd like to talk to about that a little bit later. We're also starting up something brand new though, which is like super, 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 super cool. And I'd like to extend the opportunity to talk to me. I think Claudia has to leave, but me and Mike about this as we go.
No, not me.
Huh?
No, not me. Just some people have to leave.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thought you were talking. Gotcha. But if you want to talk about this, we're happy to talk with you, and that's the local clubs. And the beauty of a local club is you're able to get into nutritional fitness for a fraction of what it costs to work with me one-on-one, and you still get a very high level of individualized service and help, because each one of our clubs will have a personal health guide that people can come to and talk to and interact with. And you got another really cool thing, and that's that when you go out, you don't have to feel weird about what you ordered, because you're in a restaurant with 10 other people ordering just like you're ordering, and it's a very empowering environment to learn it. And so what I'd encourage you, we're out of time here, but talk to me or talk to Mike or talk to Claudia if you're interested in getting into one of the local clubs, because we would love to have you, help you, work with you, and get you through those things to where you can get back to center and be where you need to be. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. One more question and then we're going to wrap it up for today. Going, gone. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate your attentiveness. I hope you learned something you can take away with you. And thank you so kindly. And if you guys have talked to Mike, I'll let him take that.
So for those of you that are going to be able to stay for lunch, lunch is just in this building right next door. So you go out the front to the next side where our NF Cafe. And we're going to be serving lunch there, talking about food prep and things like that, some additional discussions. For everybody that's here, we actually have some nutritional fitness coffee mugs outside for you, so grab one of those on your way out. And then we'll just quickly move to lunch, since I know we're already running a little bit late and some people have to leave. So we can have more further conversations over lunch. So thanks for everybody for coming. It's a great session.
Thank you.